I thought something was buzzing.
Oh.
I was like, wait, something's under the table. Have you seen those TikToks of the demon chef?
No. What?
It's a guy. It's a guy on stilts, and he has a mask on, and he goes, and he cooks.
Oh, fancy.
It's not. It's terrifying. The first one I saw, my fucking heart dropped. I was like, oh, this is a demon from a different dimension, and now I'm haunted.
At least he knows how to work TikTok, though. Like, really connecting.
He really does. And it's honestly hilarious. I'm trying to be that guy.
Just a demon that cooks food?
Yes.
On TikTok?
Uh-huh.
That's a pretty good life goal.
I saw, it reminds, oh my God. The only segue to this is cooking. Okay?
Okay.
Just to clarify, there's no other thing. But I forget who it was used to make a joke on somewhere about roachatouille. So it's a roach instead of a rat.
Wow. The movie takes on a whole new...
It takes place in, like, Brooklyn.
Oh, yeah. It's totally different.
Have you seen those videos of the rats dragging the pizza onto the subway?
Yeah.
City is not real.
Have you seen the guy in the rat, like, mask in, like, a tuxedo with the tail?
Absolutely, I have not.
And he has a giant inflatable slice of pizza, and he's dragging it up the subway stairs. And I enjoyed that.
That's not real.
Dude, imagine going to Comic-Con like, I'm cosplaying the subway rat.
Are you going to come to the Lego convention with me in August?
I'd like to.
We're going to go. We went last year and it was super fun.
I didn't go.
Well, yeah. But I mean, like, when I say we, I mean, you know.
Yeah.
But
I was clarifying for the...
Oh,
yeah.
But we went last year, and afterwards we got, like, sushi and went and hung out in the mall. It was really fun. We made Build-A-Bears.
Have you seen the cows that are on TikTok?
Yes.
The Build-A-Bear cows.
I have.
The Longhorn.
They're Longhorn?
I thought they were Longhorn cows.
Oh, I thought you meant Longhorn Steakhouse.
Where do you think they get the name?
I don't know.
Did you look at the picture? Because there's a picture above those words in the restaurant of a cow with long horns.
I thought you meant like Longhorn Steakhouse that sponsored Build-A-Bear.
No,
it was like
it's a Longhorn
but
cow.
I just made that connection too.
Oh, so you didn't know like they were called that?
No.
Oh wow. You just thought people were describing them like that. Oh, they have long horns.
I thought that was just the name of the brand.
Oh, like you. Okay.
No, I just didn't make the connection.
There's a picture.
I didn't make the
The
connection.
logo is a longhorn cow.
And I didn't make that connection.
Picture books are easy, man.
No, not when you can't read.
They're picture books.
Oh, wait, shit. Okay. How are you?
Pretty good. You know, it's been a fun weekend.
Mm-hmm. Holding you hostage.
Yeah, but it's nice to not sit in a dorm room all the time.
Worth a 2-hour drive?
Yeah, it's fun. Also, we have fun drives. There's a lot of music. And just a lot of random conversations. So it's fun.
I love that for y'all.
Are
we ready to start?
I think so. I mean,
okay.
Might as well get into it.
Am I going first again?
I mean, we've kind of got a thing going, and we either have to break it now or it's set in stone.
Is that what's happening?
I think because you're the oldest, you have to go first.
Oh, wow.
If I learned anything from school,
this is ageism.
That's it. And the mitochondria stuff.
The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
And I know that the oldest people go first, and the mitochondria business. You have glasses too, like
that makes it worse.
No, but it's to help you.
They don't do much.
Oh, they're just for funsies?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I'm still blind.
Okay. I have glasses.
You're not wearing them.
Mm-mm. They're at school. I forgot them.
Emily.
They're reading glasses, though.
Oh.
They're not like, I can see fine without them.
Mm-hmm.
But because I used to see 2 of everything, and then I had to have surgery because of that, the muscles in my eyes are weak.
Yeah.
Because they're like having to rebuild after being cut.
Mm-hmm.
so it takes a little while. And to make my eyes not get strained as fast, usually when I'm looking at screens, I wear reading glasses.
Rest in peace, the laptop in front of you.
Yeah, I am looking at a screen this time. The Shark Notebook is gone.
But it's covered in stickers. I see
Yeah.
Thomas the Tank.
Adam has the Shark Notebook in there also.
I see a Ninja Turtles. I see a Supreme sticker. A Nike. There's a lot going on.
It's a fun time.
Is that The Mandalorian? I've never seen a single Star Wars movie.
You need to fix that.
No.
Just
I was
no?
explaining it to him earlier. It's like reverse FOMO now. It's like
You don't
I don't want to be a part of it. I'm so
behind.
offset from that part of culture that at this point if I watched it, I'd be behind the trend. So why
you
why
just
would
like
I
felt
bother?
like you could never catch up kind of thing.
That I just don't want to.
Fair enough.
It's those, and he was talking to me about the MCU. I still haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy. Both of them.
Why?
I just haven't. I haven't seen Infinity War. I haven't seen a single Avengers movie except the first one.
Oh no.
I haven't.
I don't
seen,
think I
still
can-
haven't seen Spider-Man.
I think I have to leave. I don't think I can do this
I haven't
anymore.
seen Doctor Strange.
Disgusting.
The last MCU movie that I saw intentionally was Black Panther.
A good movie.
Yeah, a very good movie.
The door just creaked.
It's a ghost.
Yeah, but just do yourself a favor and watch them.
Absolutely not.
Marvel?
I don't care. They're all the same.
Yeah, but they're good.
But they're all the same.
They're so good.
I'm gonna watch Spider-Man eventually, just because Tom Holland. Like I
You-
like Tom Holland, and also
you
Zendaya's in it, isn't she?
Yeah.
I do like Zendaya.
You should watch. If you seen Thor Ragnarok,
No.
please just do yourself a favor and watch just that one. If
Why?
anything, a masterpiece of a movie for no reason. It's so funny. No reason to be as good as it is.
So let me get this straight. If you had to make me watch any MCU movie, that's the one you'd pick? Not
No.
like Guardians of the Galaxy or anything?
He's in there snapping about it.
Oh, Adam agrees.
Oh, it's so good. Like Guardians of the Galaxy I highly recommend it. But if you're just not interested in the storyline at all, just Thor Ragnarok was so fun. And I know you like Loki.
I do like Loki.
He's, in the movie. And
He's present.
He's in the movie. No, there's some really funny scenes with Loki and Thor. It's just such a good movie. And if you like that character anyway, it's such a, it just fits so nice. And they kind of, all the context you need, they throw in there. Because it was like a while between Thor 2 and Thor Ragnarok. Not much, but I highly recommend it.
Okay. Are we starting?
Yes.
Okay.
And we did decide you were going first.
I don't think we decided anything.
I think the American school system did.
Okay.
So.
And then the American school system failed us in a lot of ways, brother. Okay. So first, I want to say I did watch. I consumed some content about this. First, do you know who Mr. Anime is?
Yeah, I've heard.
I
The
feel like that's
name.
just gonna be the trend.
I always hear the names. I'm just like, okay, cool, that exists.
Yeah. So I watched that chapter on YouTube, made a really good video about this, and it's called The Bizarre Unraveling of Mr. Anime. I did watch that. And then I also listened to another podcast, Obscura did an episode on this on YouTube like 2 years ago. And I listened to pieces of it. So, shall we begin?
Go for it.
Go for it. This guy, he was born in August of 1989. His name is, I have to know his zodiac sign. I'm so sorry.
Quick pause. Zodiac
Quick
check.
pause.
Zodiac
I
check.
have to, zodiac check, zodiac check. I have to know his zodiac sign. Ew. He's a fucking Leo.
Ooh.
Okay, so this guy, his name is Trey Eric Sessler. He's a Leo from Texas. We already have some problems there.
There's a couple of things.
So he grew up in Texas. His name is Trey Eric Sessler. He grew up in Texas with both parents and an older brother. September of 2006, he starts a YouTube channel when he's 17. So this YouTube channel, I watched a lot of the videos, okay? It's cringe. It's some, like, new, like, YouTube is fun and frisky and brand new. It's like old Smosh videos, you know? It's like a train wreck. You just can't look away.
Yeah.
He starts off by making, like, action trailers and skits. Often his, like, thing was he would play multiple characters in the same frame, so he, like, cloned himself. So he was one of the first people who did that. On YouTube at least, and like he actually did a bunch of tutorials on it because people were like, whoa,
That's some cool content.
this is new.
Yeah.
He did a lot of that. He did a lot of skits, notably, and a lot of like comedy skits with laugh
like
tracks.
early YouTube.
Yeah.
Just the whole vibe.
Very much that vibe. Notably though, what are you looking behind me for?
I swear, his ponytail. That's not his ponytail this time. It's just his hair. Like, he'll move. I'm so sorry.
Every time you look behind me, I think you see a
I just,
demon.
like, catch it. Like, he'll shift in the chair or something, and I catch it out the corner of my eye. And so I'm like, oh, it's gone over there.
It's better because we can only see his head.
Yeah.
Like the tippy top.
We haven't described why we can only see his head.
We're just going to leave it there. He's only a head, actually.
He is a ghost with it's just a floating head.
Literally. He's a cryptid, like Bigfoot, but he lives in the studio. Anyway, so notably, a lot of his videos included a lot of violence. So sword fighting and things like that, but also guns. Like,
was it graphic or just like cheesy YouTube video? Because you can't be graphic on YouTube.
Right. Well, this was before a lot of the copyright and suspension stuff was in place. I actually do get to that later. The guns in his videos were real, if that's what you're asking. And there are videos of him, like, actually shooting. I mean, he doesn't kill his friends and all that, but he does, like, he makes a tutorial on how to make it look like you shoot someone in the stomach with, like, blood packages and stuff under his shirt.
Okay.
So it's graphic in that sense, but it's
like special effects.
Exactly. It's practical effects is what it is. So, and also in a number of his early videos, he does videos where he dies. So, like he's being struck by lightning, or a lot of the time he's shot. And because he's cloning himself, he's shooting himself. Like, it's some weird shit. So there's like an early fascination, I guess, with death and violence, but specifically gun violence. So he starts doing anime reviews in September of 2007, so a year after the channel was created. So he's one of the first people who like really dipped their toes into that niche, you know? Because, you know, anime was still not like underground, but frowned upon.
It just like wasn't in mainstream
Right.
as much.
It's not.
Kind of thing.
It wasn't. The popular kids didn't do that.
Yeah.
She
wasn't around much, kind of thing. Not on anything. Yeah.
So he's supposedly the inspiration for a lot of like popular anime reviewers now. Like he was one of the first people to start this like trend of, I watched the entirety of a show, specifically an anime, I'm going to rate it on a scale, and I'm going to tell you why. It wasn't a very big community, so he was pretty well known within the niche. He rated an anime on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being this is absolute shit, 10 being this is god tier, like
go watch
fantastic,
it kind of
go
thing.
watch it.
Yeah.
Very rarely did shows get a 10. He also talked about like the intros and like characterization, and if the show came in like a box set, he'd talk about like the designs on the boxes and things like that. He
was well-rounded.
No,
I wasn't
literally.
expecting the box set thing at all.
He was known for being like super straightforward and honest, and he, like, you know, other internet personas will like pick a character to play. He didn't really do that. He wasn't always happy. He wasn't always angry. He didn't have fake opinions. Like, he told you what he thought, and he meant it. And, like, that was his thing. He also spent a lot of time filming for YouTube just in general because he continued to do skits and stuff at the same time. He was pretty prolific, and he uploaded 323 clips over the course of 5 years. So in 2011, so that's 4 years after the channel has been created, things take a turn. The reviews get weirder with time. More unhinged, I guess is the word you would use. It's like his temper starts to get really weird. The way he's like delivering himself is very strange. And there was also a lot of rumors circulating on the internet that he was killing animals at night.
Where did
The
that...
lights just went off.
Oh my gosh. Like, how would that rumor even get started though? Like,
I explain it actually.
Okay, cool.
How
I was like, where does that just come
Um,
from on the internet? Like,
Right.
that's interesting.
So specifically, he boasted about a family pet rabbit that went missing, and also the rumor, like specifically like killing animals, yes, like his pets and things, but killing neighbors' livestock. This is Texas, like
Yeah, okay.
cows and shit. A video came out, and it's called "Mr. Anime Was Injured." Also, just a general thing, I did find a lot of re-uploads of his videos, like pretty much his whole channel. There are certain videos, though, that just disappeared, and this is one of them. I couldn't find it anywhere. I am going to put, like, a link to the playlist that of his whole channel in our Discord, so that other people can look at it, so that you can look at it. I do have a few of the videos, like, saved if we want to look at them. But this video, Mr. Anime Was Injured, he comes on and he's very vague, but he says that he's been injured some way, somehow, and he can't disclose what the accident was because of legal and insurance reasons. But the whole reason he made it was he had to tell his audience that he couldn't be on camera for a little while. And he had a scar on his cheekbone from what I could see. But the reason I brought up the Obscura podcast, like I said, this podcast came out 2 years ago, right? So that podcast, at the time that podcast was recorded, his YouTube channel was still up.
Okay, so like you could go through it.
Exactly. So Obscura, according to them, well, that and also Obscura was like active in that community at the time that these things were happening.
So like followed him on
Right.
YouTube through it.
Okay. And so it like Obscura specifically had a really unique perspective that I thought was super cool. Because according to them, when that video came out, there was a lot of drama around it. It's been clean wiped from the internet now, but people who knew Trey in real life took to internet forums to talk about how the accident actually happened in the process of killing animals, and specifically an animal had tried to defend itself. So that's how that rumor started circulating, was because people who knew him or claimed they knew him were going on internet forums and saying, yeah, he's doing this in the middle of the night.
Okay.
This video was a shift for him. So his appearance only gets worse from here. Man's looked like he was hit by a truck.
Oh no.
And he also starts to slur his speech a lot. It gets to the point where commenters under his videos are asking him if he's on medication, and he jokingly made a video in response to the slur. This video, I watched it, it's super weird. He comes in with a beer bottle and he sits down at like an interview desk, like you would have for like a night talk show or something, and he throws himself down onto the chair and he's throwing himself around and pretending to be drunk, which is weird because in the past videos he definitely was. He was slurring and he was definitely inebriated. In this one, though, he's acting like he is and making all these jokes about how my producer said I had to come here and talk about all this, and he's talking really slow and is saying that like my producer told me to come talk about my drinking problem to y'all. And it's
Just
just,
like kind of admitting
yeah.
just by acting.
And it's just really condescending, too.
Yeah.
Like, and it's also weird because in all of Trey's videos, he plays all of the characters. So he has played his own producer before. So it's like, it's the concept of like, I don't know. It just really weirded me out, and it made my skin crawl a little bit to watch it. And the videos get worse from there, don't get me wrong, but that one specifically, like, it's just unnerving. The way he's acting and the fact that he's acting in the first place, you know? It was a lot. From there, like, the videos start to contain violence again. Because you remember, like, it started off a little weird, like, with his skits and stuff. There was a lot of violence, but nothing crazy. And then it kind of disappeared with the anime reviews. Now that's coming back. And it's only getting worse. His speech is only getting worse. His appearance is only getting worse. And now the violence has made a reappearance again. He's been slurring a lot. And specifically, there's one video where he's showing off a gun. I know nothing about guns. But he's talking about, like, the rounds and the magazines and stuff like that. In the video, he is very, very drunk with weapons.
Yeah.
Under a bridge somewhere, and he says, quote, "You can call me Mr. Anime, or you can call me Trey, or you can call me the guy who does all of the gun stuff now." He's almost completely dead behind the eyes, too. Like, in other videos, he looked excited, you know? Like, he's doing something he loves. This man, there's nothing back there. It's an empty shell of a person. And it is around this time that he becomes hyper obsessed with mass shootings. Specifically, he was quite the fan of Columbine.
Oh, no.
Now, this is a general disclaimer. We're never going to talk about mass shootings on this show, ever.
Yes.
This is not a story about a mass shooting.
That's good. I was worried.
I promise you I would never do that because, you know, it encourages copycats. Like, I don't ever want to give those people a platform. He just, for some reason, latches on to the concept of a mass shooting. And it does come up a little later, a few times in the story, but I promise that is not where this story is going. Good. And we will never be talking about it, ever. But he does become hyper obsessed with mass shootings, which isn't uncommon for mass shooters. They look at each other as, like, competition, in a sense, you know? They're trying to outdo each other. They view lives sort of like you do points in a video game.
So dumb.
It's the dumbest thing. He also begins to journal about serial killers. So he starts keeping a journal about mass shootings and serial killers.
I can't talk much about that. I have a shark notebook. And it did have, like, a true crime in it. I can't say
Wait, I can't say anything about that. I mean, I wrote in a shark composition notebook about a guy who with the cam girls and credit card theft.
Episode 1, if you haven't seen it.
Episode 1, cam girls and credit card theft. You love to see it. Your shark notebook is nowhere near what this guy had going on. Okay. He also does a video where he shows off his ferrets, which he later kills.
No.
Yeah, so that's uncomfortable. But a video comes out, and it is called, hold on, I had the name. I have a YouTube playlist pulled up so I can actually, like, show you the names exactly. It's called Mr. Anime on the recent shootings in the U.S. He comes on, it's like 4 minutes too. Like, this is the point when YouTube videos are like between 30 seconds and 4 minutes. So he's just sitting in front of a camera and talking super fast and slurring, and specifically ranting about the mass shootings. He's like, it seems like every time I open my Yahoo, my Google or whatever, there's another mass shooting. There's another guy killing people. And specifically about how it's the economy's fault. Because all of these mass shooters recently lost their jobs. So that's why they're doing this. And it almost sounds like he's making excuses. And it doesn't help that he's also unemployed. So it's like he's finding a kinship almost with the people he's ranting about in these videos.
He's trying to say it's somebody else's fault, kind of.
Exactly.
That they were wronged, and it wouldn't have happened if they weren't.
Exactly.
That's intense.
In 2012, he makes a video. I'm going to butcher the name of this, okay? But he had an issue with his lungs called pneumothorax. Don't know what that is. Essentially, his lung was ready to collapse. He talks about it in his video and his symptoms and such, and it's essentially like air is leaking out of his lungs. And he says he's going to be out of action for a little bit. It's unclear as to how this happened, why this happened, if it was a result of like another animal attack or whatever. He does recover though. It was only minor. He continues to post. It only gets worse. So this is the next video that comes out is a rant on the YouTube copyright system and the specifically found it. The suspension system. Like, you do bad things and you get in trouble. He didn't like that concept.
Oh.
So he's slurring his words again. He's threatening YouTube.
Oh.
He's threatening YouTube, brandishing a gun at the camera.
Oh, no.
As if he is going to intimidate YouTube.
The company.
Not a person.
Just a company.
Just a multi-billion-dollar company. He's angry about the suspensions and violation system. And the clip of him like holding the gun is actually the clip. And the clip of him holding the gun is actually the clip that like pretty much all of the news outlets used when he does what he does.
Okay. Don't spoil it.
I won't. His third to last video. This is the one that everyone talks about. If you've heard anything about this case, this is what you've heard about. Is he has a video called Mr. Anime is Planning Something.
And with his history, that doesn't sound great.
What could he be planning, I wonder? It's probably great. And it's worse because he seems like his old self in this. Like, he's sitting there and he's perky. He's happy. He's not slurring. His eyes are less empty. He's talking about how he'd be taking more time off because he had something really big planned. He's super optimistic, and he says that he's also going to be hoping to put out vlogs that people are really going to enjoy. And this is the calm before the storm.
Oh.
This is the eye of the hurricane.
We're not calm right now. I'm a little worried about some stuff going on.
I'm a little worried. Following that, because that was his third to last video, right? So there's two more. So his second to last video, he's completely fucked up again. He's completely obliterated.
Oh, so he like snapped back in for a second.
I watched it, honestly couldn't understand a thing he was saying. I had to like watch it multiple times, slow it down. Like, his slurring is just so difficult to get past at this point. He's barely speaking English. He is talking about an anime series called Welcome to the NHK, which I personally have not watched. But in this show, there's something called a NEET, N-E-E-T, which stands for Not in Employment, Education, or Training. And he's ranting about how this is a huge insult because NEETs are seen as less than in this series because they're not doing anything with their lives. He's ranting about it. He says that he doesn't identify with the title, but it very clearly like struck a chord with him because he compares himself to the main character, who is a NEET the whole time. So you see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
He's pretending that he's not affected by it, but he very clearly sees himself as this NEET thing, not in employment, education, or training, because he sees himself as not doing anything with his life. Specifically, he says, I don't know where the line between NEET and fucking hobo is. And then he says that he starts going off about how there are people who are aspiring artists and that the title of NEET doesn't seem fair. And he's hyper defensive, which makes sense because he's been employed for pretty much all of his life. Unemployed. Did I say employed?
I thought you said unemployed.
Okay.
But I don't know.
His last video. It's called Mr. Anime's New Job. He found a full-time job in the film industry, and he is very excited. This video comes out on March 13th of 2012, and it's optimistic at first. You know, like he seems a little more like himself. He's not drunk, at least. He's talking about how he found a new job in the film industry. He's really excited about it. He's probably going to be posting less on YouTube, but he's going to be posting more on his blog. Like, he has all these big plans coming. He's not going to abandon the channel, though, because this is also before you could really, like, make a career out of YouTube.
Yeah.
But there's this ridiculously bizarre twist in the video. Because about halfway through...
Did you see this one?
Yes.
Okay.
It's so weird, dude. I'll show you it. I swear, it's the weirdest thing to watch. And I understand why most people talk about the video, the Mr. Anime is planning something, because that's just so ominous to break the cycle of all the drunken rants and all this stuff, to come in with just this super vague claim. But this one, it's weirder to me, because it's like the twist in this video is that he starts to talk to a clone of himself. Halfway through, the video just completely changes. Because he's sitting there in front of the camera talking about how his new job, his new plans or whatever. Halfway through the video, completely changes. And he's talking to a clone of himself who is unmistakably drunk. He's talking to the old version of himself. And it's
trippy.
It's trippy. It's weird. It's uncomfy. And then the video just cuts off halfway through the skit.
What were they talking about?
I don't even know.
No.
Like, it was like nonsense. It was like, I can't, I'll show it to you. I can't even explain it. And it cuts off halfway through it. It was almost like he said something he didn't want people to see, or he didn't like the way it turned out, so he just cut it. And it's a hard cut to black. Uncomfortable. Okay?
And that's the last video on his YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm. And it's still up. Okay. So a week later, on March 19th, 2012, he binge drinks all night. And then he snaps. And he decides that he is going to shoot up a school.
Oh, no.
He's been studying it for so long that he thought he knew how to do it. But he didn't want his parents to be ashamed of him. So in the early morning of March 20th, 2012, he grabbed a pistol and an assault rifle. He calls his mom into the garage, and he shoots her 4 times in the chest and stomach at point-blank range. He told investigators later that he was really shaken and upset by seeing her, but that seeing her body on the ground was truly what sealed the fate of the rest of his family. He went inside and he shot his brother in the head. The gunshots wake up his dad, who comes into the living room, and Trey shoots him twice. They didn't all die instantly, so he circled back to shoot each of them a few more times in like a mercy kill style fashion to make sure that they were really dead. His brother was only 26. His dad was a school teacher. His mom and him had been married for 34 years. It was really heartbreaking. There's also, his dad was a school teacher, like, who was really beloved by, like, the community. And there's an interview, like a news interview of one of his students who was just crying about how this man could take away her teacher. It's really sad. He then destroyed the whole house. He kills all of the pets. And he walks down the street to his old high school. He sits in the parking lot of his high school with a semi-automatic rifle, and his goal was to kill 70 students at a pep rally so that he could become the biggest mass murderer in history at that point. But he decided not to go through with it, and he went to a friend's house instead.
Interesting choice.
Which is the exact same thing. How?
Oh, he like planned to shoot?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
I thought you meant he was like trying to get a score there, and it was like,
No.
I
He
like,
just
what?
was like, yeah, I'm over it.
Yeah, you're kind of like, I don't even know. Why do you say like, I'll just go to my friend's house?
Literally.
You just killed your whole family, all of your pets, and almost shot school children.
Literally.
And you're like, no, I'll just go to my friend's house.
Literally. It's so fucked up.
That's, obviously.
But that's also part of the reason I picked this story, right? Because it is not a mass murder, but it almost was.
Yeah, very close to being one.
Right, and the concept of like him changing his mind is so weird to me. Because he sat there for a while, like just in his car with his weapon. They were all at a pep rally. He could have, but he didn't.
And he obviously like, it wasn't just talk. He killed his whole family.
He killed his whole family.
A
Point
weird
blank.
switch. That's, yeah.
But so the bodies of his family are found. The manhunt begins. Trey was arrested immediately. During the police investigation, they combed through the computers in his house, his car, as well as his handwritten journal, and that's when they found out about his mass shooting obsession, his serial killer obsession, and he seemed to get this far by convincing himself that it was a game, and he stopped because it was too real. Like, it was having an effect on him. Police investigators also found words written all over the walls in black marker, some of which include, "I love my family," "I will never forgive myself," "I don't know why I did this, God help me," "I love my mama, dad, and brother," "I will never forgive my state of mind, never. No one will ever forgive me, not even me."
There was... that was in like his room.
All over his walls. All
So
over
he
the walls
wrote
of the
that
house.
before he did it?
After.
After? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He did. He like stayed
Mm-hmm.
and messed it up. Okay.
He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole or appeal. And one final quote from Trey to investigators is, "The thing about my family is that I would protect them with my livelihood. At the same time, if anyone was going to hurt them, it was going to be me. They were the first immediate human targets in my sight. I was going to go and do anything. If I was going to go and do anything, they would have to go." One comment below the podcast, the other podcast, really jumped out at me. So I'm also going to read that. And it says, "I think what's so striking about him is his motivation. When I think about other killers with a YouTube presence, they had their reasons, as illogical as they might have been. Mr. Anime just seemed to like killing. Beyond that, the guy was as vanilla and unremarkable as I've ever seen."
To like to find in just a comment section. That's a nicely written quote.
Mm-hmm.
They were props to that person.
Literally.
That's like, but yeah, no, that's a good point. Like he reviewed anime
Right.
on YouTube for years.
And he was popular. Like, there, people who were in the same sphere as him at the time he was like rising to popularity, some of those have made their careers on YouTube now.
Yeah, no, like could have easily been like a rich YouTuber
Mm-hmm.
that we all watch review anime.
But he was just very sick.
Yeah, no, like early on with the whole hurting animals thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's so like to not know he needed help or if he was getting help, it just wasn't enough.
Right.
And like who could have stepped in to fix that?
Mm-hmm. And I think what's also interesting about this one specifically is like a lot of people chronicle it like similarly to how I do. Like how I just did. They take YouTube videos as their timeline. whereas like with other mass killers or serial killers or whatever, you take it usually chronologically in their lives, you know. You'll hear they started killing animals at this age, they were wetting the bed, lighting fires, this is their first victim, like that kind of thing. This guy didn't do any of that. This guy made YouTube videos and then snapped.
Yeah.
And became a family annihilator overnight.
Yeah, you had to like, I don't know, that's so weird to me.
And it's also like with family annihilators specifically, because usually family annihilators are dads who are ashamed of themselves, so they're going to kill their whole family to protect them from the shame.
He was ashamed of something he hadn't done yet.
Exactly. He was ashamed of something he didn't have to do, something he didn't end up doing.
Yeah, so weird. Like, obviously, like, intended to because he took the first step.
It's just so weird to me that, like, you're going to be...
Why?
Right. Right. You're going to be ashamed of something you haven't done yet. And then from there, like, he didn't do it. He
so
changed
obviously
his
there
mind.
was nothing making him do that.
Right.
Even if in his head he felt like he had to. Like, was it strong enough, or did he just really just go off on something?
I don't know. And I mean, he did say it became, like, too real for him after the killing of his parents. But it's like, I don't know.
That's so interesting.
And he says it became too real, and yet after he killed his mom, he says killing his mom is what sealed the fate for the rest of the family.
Yeah, he like at that point couldn't go on with just some of them living and knowing he had done it.
It was like he jumped over a hurdle.
Yeah. That's so... Oh my gosh. Like, I don't even know what to say about it.
It's a weird one.
It's a weird like psychological thing. Like, what was up in his head? Like, and how did people not see he needed help if he was going around, he was hurting animals this much. He was getting in legal trouble and had health issues and obviously was drinking a lot. Like,
but I mean, at that point people probably just attributed it to, like, he's a kid on the internet. Like,
yeah, he's unemployed at that point. Right. You know, YouTube wasn't a career. It's like he's just some kid at home who makes videos all day.
Right.
Yeah.
Shit's whack, bro.
That's crazy.
But that was the story of Mr. Anime.
What a story. Okay. I like heard it's one of those, you know the name and you know it's a case, but just haven't gotten to it yet.
It really freaked me out because he was a YouTuber.
Yeah.
Like, and he was the popular one. Like, before our time, obviously. It's not like David Dobrik. The motive wasn't
he wasn't doing well, or...
Right.
He, like, people watched him and then just kind of spiraled out of nowhere.
He just snapped one night.
Yeah. So weird. Mine is, like, on a totally... mine is very conspiracy theory.
Oh?
You probably know the incident. I mean, like, if you don't, I wouldn't be that surprised. He's clapping in there.
Does he want an intermission?
He put a thumbs up.
Mans has to pee. Yeah. Elevator music. And we're back.
Are we? Or do you want to finish your cookies?
I should finish the cookie.
I think you should finish the cookies.
Intermission again. And we're back again. Guess who's back? Back again.
Jenny's back. I was so far from the mic, dude. That's why I was just going to sound like in the background. All right. My kind of like overall topic, if we're doing those, it's like a conspiracy kind of thing, but it's a true event that has conspiracies about how it actually went down.
Oh, no.
There is a proven outcome, proven in quotation marks. A lot of people disagree with it, even now.
Is it the murder of Princess Diana?
No.
Aww.
Dude, I should have come out swinging with that, though.
You really should have been like, abso-fucking-lutely it is. Because
how did you guess? I don't know if you've heard of this, but it's been around, and, like, there's still news articles on it all the time. It's just, like, one of those things that reoccur. It's Dyatlov's pass.
I have no idea what this is.
Okay, good.
Not even a little bit.
So, like, I thought even if you had heard about it, there's so many conspiracies that I can't even, like, I didn't even write all of them down.
Oh, shit.
There are so many, like, the more I looked, the more I found. Like, so many people have their own spin on how this went down.
Okay.
I put, like, 15 of them in here, though.
I'm so excited.
Some of them are pretty short, like you can sum them up, but it's a lot. But how I've set it up is go through what's kind of accepted as the known facts and what's like how the case was ended, like what it was declared as.
Okay.
So it kind of what's accepted as the truth in the eyes of the case.
Okay.
And then go into the conspiracies.
Sick.
So it takes place in 1959 Russia.
Ooh.
The event is in the Ural mountain range, which I didn't know where that was. It's in like central western Russia.
Okay.
And it runs north south.
Okay.
It's like straight up and down in western Russia.
Okay.
And it's in a specific pass, like the title, Dyatlov's Pass, is where this event takes place. It's a group of experienced trekkers, they have all ski toured in the area.
Okay.
They were all at least grade 2 hikers, and most of them were getting like, after this hike would be qualified to get grade 3 ranking. So like in trekking, you get like experience rankings like that, because there's some places you shouldn't go. Like there's recommendations, like
Right.
if you haven't had this much experience, don't try here.
Right.
Is kind of what that's
Because
for.
places are more difficult.
The group starts off with 10 people, and they're all from the Ural Polytechnic Institute. So from that region of the mountain range, it's nearby. They all go to the same institution though. And on January 23rd, 1959, they left for a committee-approved skiing expedition into the mountains.
What year?
1959.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. And they're heading for a mountain, Otorten. I'm not sure if I'm saying these Russian names right. I am trying my best.
Email us if we're wrong.
I'm saying them wrong. The group leader of the group is Igor Dyatlov, which the pass is named after.
Oh, okay.
So
I was wondering, why'd that sound familiar?
where did I hear this
from?
from?
The
It is.
story.
This pass is named after this event, and
Okay.
it's after him, the group leader. He was a 23-year-old radio engineering student at the institute,
Okay.
and he led the group. The group was made up of 7 males, 2 females. They're all about 23-year-olds. The youngest person's 20, and then there's the outlier of the group. He's 38.
What the
But
fuck?
most of them are in their like young 20s,
Okay.
24 or 20, in that range. We'll
But
talk about him a little later.
the 38-year-old is not the leader.
No, it's
Okay.
it's
It's
Dyatlov.
okay.
And they're going up there to set something up or to make sure. I'm not like quite sure what it was. I looked into it, but it was more so just an expedition to check on stuff and see if they could set stuff up and
Okay.
maybe leave some stuff there to be set up, kind of stuff. So like they were just gonna check stuff out, kind of mission. They left from a small village. They head into the mountains from a small village, and this is 5 days after they left the institute. So it takes them a little while to get to the edge of civilization, pretty much.
Okay.
They travel for 5 days, and they go to a village. It's Vizhai, again, not
Russian
sure.
words.
It's right. It's in like Russian. It's in the north of the area, and it's the closest inhabited area. So it was like the farthest they could go, just like by train.
Okay.
The next day, one of the members, it's a group of 10 at this point. His name is Yuri Yudin. He turned back and left the expedition after the first day. He had a heart defect and was also experiencing joint and knee pain.
Okay.
So it was just like, I'm not going to risk it. He's 21 at the time, and he actually died in 2013
Oh shit.
at the age of 75.
Good for him.
So he, out of the 10, is the only one that survives.
What?
Spoiler alert. On the 31st, the group arrived at an area that they couldn't carry all their stuff with them. It involves some climbing, like steep stuff.
Okay.
So in this area is Dyatlov's Pass.
Chills.
They leave items there. They packed. They knew that this pass was there. It wasn't a named pass at the point, but it was a known pass.
Okay.
Like it's something that wasn't unexplored territory. So they knew that they would hit this eventually, and they had brought stuff to leave there for when they were coming back through it.
Okay.
So stuff to be recollected on their way back. And then the next day, which is February 1st, they start to cross. it's believed that their intent was to get all the way through in one day.
Okay.
But what happens is snowstorm starts rolling in and rapidly decreasing visibility is believed. So they wind up accidentally going off course on like this slope they had to pass. They went further up than they planned, and they're on a slope called, I'm going to butcher it too, Koholat Syakhl, Russian. It translates roughly to Dead Mountain. How fun. Bad mountain to accidentally wind up on. They set up camp though. They're about a mile off course at this point.
Okay.
And they're a mile uphill of where they thought they'd be. Like, it's not just to the side, it's up. They went further up than they planned.
Right.
To this slope. But they don't want to try to get back on route while the snowstorm's happening because they fear they're just going to get more lost. So they're like, let's set up camp here, call it a night. We know this because of cameras and diaries found at the campsite. They documented that they intentionally stayed off course and knew they were off course.
Right.
But that it was planned. And then Yudin, the guy who was with them originally but left, he's quoted saying in an interview in St. Petersburg Times in 2008, he said Dyatlov probably didn't want to lose the altitude they had gained, or he decided to practice camping on the mountain slope. Just like they were here to like get experience pretty much. Like it was just a normal expedition to them. And a lot of people also say that it was a bad snowstorm, which wasn't common in the area, so it was probably unexpected. And they were just like, let's not chance it, kind of thing.
A good call, I would think.
Yeah.
I would think.
I was like, word, yeah, makes sense.
Worm.
But the problem, though, they die somewhere, all 9 of them, between...
They, die.
This is where a lot of conspiracy comes in, is somewhere between the night of the 1st and the 2nd of February. And this is 6 days after they had left the town.
Okay.
Which, like, they weren't that far into it.
Absolutely
They had
not.
a lot more.
That's not even a week.
Yeah, they were off course at this point. And Dyatlov had told the committee he would send a telegram when they arrived back in the town they left from. And it wasn't expected until the 12th. So they weren't like even halfway through or anything. They had days until they were expected to telegram back.
Right.
And when Yudin left, the guy who left early, Dyatlov told them that he believed it would take a little longer, so not to worry if the telegram's a little late.
Oh no.
But that was really common at the time, that once you start trekking, you might realize, conditions are a little different than what we planned for. It's probably going to take a little longer. So it nothing crazy to have a late telegram. So nothing's done on the 12th. There are no search and rescue parties sent out until February 20th.
What?
And at this point, it's believed they died on the 1st. So there's not even parties sent until 20 days after they believe they died.
What?
So there's
I have chills all over my body.
That's what happens when you go into expeditions into the middle of nowhere.
I hate this. We're never doing that. We're never going skiing.
They started it on the 20th because relatives at this point were demanding a part, like demanding the institute that they had left from to send one out. And the first rescue party is made up of volunteer students and teachers. Okay. And then later the Soviet army joins in and also brings planes and helicopters looking for these people.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's it takes 6 days for all of those groups to find them. So they're not found until the 26th.
Holy shit.
And
almost a month after.
Yeah, so this is, we're at the end of February. Yeah. They died on February 1st night, presumably. It's somewhere between the 1st and the 2nd. They're there for a while.
Oh my God.
The site is also, baffling to the party. The tent was cut open from the inside. It was a big tent. It was a 9-person tent. They all stayed
together
in the same tent. It wasn't like a campsite. It was one big tent. And there were 9 sets of footprints found leading to woods nearby. So they were on a part of the slope that had no coverage.
Okay.
Down lower on the slope that you could see was a wooded area. They stayed in the not wooded area up higher.
Okay.
But the footprints are really weird because there's all 9 tracks, but a lot of the hikers had nothing on their feet. They're barefoot.
What?
Some of them had 1 sock. Some of them had just socks. Some of them were missing a shoe. Like, it was just weird that they left in that experienced hikers leaving with just missing clothes. Like, yeah. For the footprints were the first thing. They were like, what on earth is going on?
Right.
The next thing they find is a campfire in the remains of a campfire, in the woods.
Okay.
But like right on the edge of the woods. Like you could look up and see where the tent would have been.
Okay.
I stumbled through that sentence so much. You could look up from the campfire and see where the tent was.
Okay.
And okay. I totally lost where I was. Give me a second.
Find it again. This story is sounding very familiar.
That's what I said. Like it goes around a lot. Mm-hmm. It's always in the media. There's always new articles about it. There's articles from a couple days ago that I was reading. Like
this is insane.
It's one of those things that is so popularized because of the like weird conspiracies connected with it. Mm-hmm. And there's always new ones and always new information coming out about it. So it's always brought up. And there's been a lot of like documentaries about it and movies based on it and stories, books based on similar concepts.
Right.
So the idea gets around. Then after they find the campfire, they find the first 2 bodies, both of which are shoeless and only in their underwear and are both male.
Shoeless, only in their underwear, both male.
Yeah.
Only 2 of them.
Only 2 out of the 9 that were there. Nearby there was a tree with branches broken 5 meters up. And they believe that some of them were broken. They think somebody was climbing it. Okay. It's only 1 tree. It's not like all the trees have branches broken. It's 1 tree right by the campfire with some broken branches. And they think somebody was looking for the camp. They don't know for sure, but they think somebody climbed up it to get a better viewpoint of the tent.
Okay.
Then the next 3 bodies were found somewhere between this campfire and the original tent.
Okay.
It seems that they were trying to get back to the tent. Dyatlov is one of these bodies.
Wait, I'm confused. How were those bodies not found first?
It's been a month after in the mountains, so it snowed. They're under light snow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wait.
They can still see the footprints, so it's light snow. Mm-hmm. But
they were buried.
Yeah, you couldn't, there's a coating over them, so they didn't notice it at first.
Okay.
But they find all of it pretty quick after, following where they went.
So they find 3 and...
Yeah, it was first they found 2, the next they find 3.
And our man's is one of them.
Yeah, Dyatlov, the leader, is one of those 3 bodies.
Gotcha.
All they can guess is that they were trying to get supplies from the tent after they got the little campfire going below. But can't say for sure again. The rest of the bodies, there's 4 bodies left, right? Yeah, 4 bodies left. They're not found for over 2 months.
What?
Yes. And the crazy thing, they were found in a small ravine 75 meters from the fire that the first bodies were found at. So not that far off, but it takes over 2 months to find them.
What?
Yeah.
What?
The ones who had survived the longest in this group, they believe some of them, in the group of 4, they believe some of them lived longer than others because they found some of them wearing clothes that had been taken off the others.
Okay, I really thought you were going to say cannibalism. I got so fucking scared.
There was no cannibalism.
But I
got scared reading it.
Taking clothes off of each other.
Yeah, just trying to stay warm. And they all the clothes is labeled. It's like expedition stuff. So
why the fuck didn't they go back to the tent?
We're getting there.
Okay, I don't mean to get ahead. I'm absolutely like flabbergasted.
There's a lot going on here.
There really is. Missing shoes.
The first 5 bodies were said to die of hypothermia. That's how they
Makes
died.
Sense. Bitches are naked.
What?
I said makes sense. They're fucking wearing their underwear.
Yeah, they have no shoes on.
Right, in the middle
on
of the
a
mountains.
mountain.
In the snow, in a snowstorm. I would hope they died.
Of
If they
hypothermia.
didn't,
Yeah, no.
I'd be more concerned.
The last 4 bodies died from, I go through them. One of them had major skull damage.
Oh.
2 of them had chest injuries on their ribs. Obviously on their ribs, but like
Right.
it's down their ribs.
What?
Just like a line down their ribs. One of them is on one side. It's just a line of ribs broken
That's crazy.
all the way down. And then one of them has on both sides of their rib cage just a line down. And then one was also hypothermia.
Okay.
One of the bodies, the one with skull damage, they all had strange orange tans.
What?
Yes. And then this is the kicker. One was missing eyes and all or part of their tongue.
What?
I don't like that they say or. Everywhere I read said or. How do you tell me you can't tell if it's all or part? How much tongue is left? Like, I don't understand how there's discrepancies on that part.
I can't.
Okay.
What?
So, yeah. Do you need me to go through any of it? It's a lot of people. 9 people is a lot.
Their eyes?
Their eyes and part of or all their tongue. Everything said or. Everything said or.
You seem to have a personal issue with this.
I was like, oh, I'll just go look at a different source and like figure out. I just wanted to say it right, and they all said or, and I was like, okay, so it's just or.
So we just don't know.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot of stuff about the like. I talk about some of them later too. That what I just said is what is accepted as fact for the case, but then I'll bring it up later too. They talk about how far the 3 bodies were from the campfire. It's not like there was 2 here and then 3 grouped up.
Right.
They died at different distances from the campfire, most likely from exhaustion, and they weren't wearing clothes.
Right.
And they were in deep snow trying to climb up a slope.
Right.
So exhaustion and deep snow is very likely they just like collapsed out of exhaustion. Different distances from the camp. But there's a lot of discrepancies of how far they were. Like how close that, like some people say that they died while on their way to the camp, and then some things say they were close enough to the fire to still talk to the other people. Like they didn't get far at all. And some things that like some of the stuff that they say there disagrees with pictures that were released later.
Oh, this is weird.
Yeah.
Okay,
and then,
wait. So. The eyes and the tongue thing.
Yes.
Is that both from the guy with the skull damage?
Yes. It was a female that had the eyes and tongue missing.
And she's the one who has an injury on her head.
I believe so.
That's all the one person. And then the other 2, one side ribs, 2 side ribs, hypothermia.
Yeah, the one with one side ribbed is a male, and the one with the 2 rows of broken like lines down their ribs is a female, and then the last one in that group is another male, died from hypothermia.
Gotcha. Sorry, I'm just trying to keep. There's a lot.
It is a lot with 9 people.
Yeah,
and it doesn't get better. There's so many confusing things.
It's okay.
If you're here for closure, you're not getting any.
Whoa, that was rough.
All I can say now is that
all
at this
or
point,
part of a tongue.
All or part of a tongue.
It's all or, baby.
Yeah,
You're not getting any answers.
With that information, the cause of death was stated to be an avalanche. No, don't worry. We're about to.
What?
Okay, so now we're going to get into more of the theories. And again, this is nowhere near all of the theories around this case.
Okay.
There are some crazy ones, and there are some ones that are like really simple, but like a different spin on everything for like just for funsies.
I'm so uncomfortable.
So like pretty much nobody knew what happened. They were gone for so long.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, no, and especially because they find the site almost a month later.
Right.
You know, and then they don't find some of the bodies for 2 months after that. So those bodies don't get found for 3 months after they died. And a lot of them are preserved because they're in such cold, like it's always cold there. So it's not like they just found skeletons. Like they had the bodies that were frozen. But again, you don't know what like looked the same. You don't know what snowfall has done since then.
Right.
So a lot of people start not liking the avalanche idea.
Right.
and some people think it was faked. Some people just think some of it was lied about. But like the major evidence against the avalanche, especially early on, no other expeditions in the area has ever experienced conditions that were conducive to an avalanche.
Okay.
It's not like nobody's experienced an avalanche. People had gone there and said, we've never even experienced where we thought an avalanche could be possible kind of conditions. It's like the area is usually calm, and like that's what they had planned for.
Mm-hmm.
They had there was no obvious signs of debris patterns, and there was very little snow covering the bodies.
Okay.
Except for the ones found in the ravine later, there was more snow built up. It's not a deep ravine,
Right.
but they had like fallen into it, is what a lot of people say. But some.
And it was also 2 months later.
Yeah, so snow could fall
buried.
and build up. But for the other bodies, it was very light covering with snow. That's how they could, they found those bodies, they all found right away.
Right.
The light covered in snow. But for an avalanche to happen and there not be debris and the tree line wasn't damaged, there was no damage on the pine trees there. It just didn't seem like that could be an avalanche. The way the tent collapsed wasn't concurrent with where the snow would have gone.
Okay.
So the way the snow had piled up onto the tent wouldn't have gone down. It would have gone, forward. Just the way it was on the tent. Mm-hmm. The tent did have snow piled up on it, but it wasn't in a downslope direction. So for the snow to pile up like that and for it to be an avalanche, that's not the direction the snow would naturally fall. So that just threw a lot of people off. Again, they're highly experienced trekkers. They would know more about how to deal with avalanche type of, they wouldn't go in an area maybe with avalanche. It threw a lot of people off that they were so experienced, and for so much to go weird and wrong in such an experienced group. Why didn't they have their clothes on?
Right. Why was one sock?
And then so later, this one weirded me out. All the footprints are proven to be walking, not running. You know how footprints have different depths in different areas when you're between walking and running? Also, the footprints are still there after a month. That's how light the snow is. But they're walking down slope. They're not running away from an avalanche trying to run for their lives.
Right.
It's obvious, they're walking away from something that it's obviously scaring them because they don't have clothes on. They didn't have time to get dressed, and they cut themselves out the tent. Mm-hmm. But they're walking at this point. Which I read and was just what? Wait. I didn't like that one. And then not one of them died of asphyxiation, which is very common to die from an avalanche.
Because it's
you're buried under snow.
Right.
Which just, it seems even the ones buried in the ravine, nobody died because they were buried in the ravine.
They died because it was the temperature.
Yeah.
Because they were naked.
Yeah. That group actually had more clothes on. That was the people who got a couple socks on.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah, the theory behind why they had split up was the cold ones stayed around the campfire, and then the more clothed ones went further to look for better shelter.
Okay.
So they did, and that's how they were able to take clothes from the ones that died earlier on.
Right.
Another thing with that group is that they can prove that the injuries happened while they were alive. It's not like they broke their ribs because the snow fell on dead bodies kind of thing.
No.
Yeah, that's, it's forensics, so there could be some discrepancies there.
Right, but they broke their ribs while they were alive?
Yeah, because of the certain way tissue was damaged.
What about the eyes?
That one wasn't said.
Okay.
A lot of the theories think the eyes happened after. Okay. I can't say that much.
Holy shit. Emily, my heart is in my throat. I'm shaking. I feel shivers all over my body.
And in a 2010 research, a study came out saying that the way the slope was, that it would have fallen in a different direction and not, again, with the tent. The tent kind of messed with that and said that snow wouldn't even be able to pile up enough, little bits of it would fall off at a time just because of the way it was positioned.
Right.
It was just, it seemed very unlikely that an avalanche would happen here and could have happened here. Mm-hmm. So now we just go through and they're messy.
Please help me.
A lot of it's not help. It makes it so much worse. They're
need
just
something.
You can pick one at the end, like which one's your favorite. I'm just gonna start off swinging though. Like I like to go through some of the really interesting ones because they're kind of long too. The first thing we talk about is military testing in the area. The campsite, which they're now off course, so it wasn't the approved course they went on, but they were in an area of parachute mine testings. If there was an exercise that night, there isn't proof that there was. They could have fled from explosions, like cut themselves out of the tent because they hear an explosion from the other side kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And as the members began to die, they were taking clothes off for more. They felt like a lot of them in this theory were still dying of hypothermia.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because it was like proven they were died of hypothermia. To say they weren't is interesting. But the remaining members could have been killed or injured from concussive blasts from the parachute mines, which explode in the air.
Okay.
So it's not like they're stepping on bombs or bombs are blowing up right by them. They're blowing up above them and sending concussive blasts down.
Okay.
And since they're not like right by the explosions, it explains why a lot of the injuries were internal and not external.
Okay.
Where they broke their ribs, there was no like external injuries.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Where the skull damage was, there was no external injury that could have been like, oh yeah, they got hit there.
Right.
Like it was internal injuries. So with a concussive force, for something to break inside before the tissue breaks, could be plausible.
Okay. But only one of them had. Oh wait, no. There's two with rib damage, and then one with a head wound, right?
And everyone else was hypothermia. So that some people say that like one of them could, like a bomb could have gone off and scared them, and then some died of hypothermia before the next one went off.
Right.
Kind of thing.
That makes sense. Doesn't explain the eyeballs or the partial tongue though.
Yeah. And then to further on this, there were other expeditions not close enough to like get to, but could see that mountain range, reported strange glowing orbs either hovering or falling in the sky that night.
Okay.
So it could have been bombs or planes going by, dropping parachute bombs.
Right.
There is thought to be footage of the orbs. Some people say it's like just messed up footage, and some people say that's got to be one of the orbs that somebody caught from a different group.
Okay.
Autopsy showed burns to the hair and skin on some of them, which is weird. Again, even if they were dead, they still should have been burned from the bombs. So that's where a lot of this one gets its like hold up.
It's the fact that it's only some of them. That's weird.
But they were also split up. So like some people say, well, they were 75 meters off in the other direction. So that it can't completely be dismissed. Another thing is, if it was a strong enough concussive blast, there would have been damage to the eardrums.
Okay.
Severe damage to the eardrums.
And there wasn't?
And there wasn't.
Gotcha.
So that kind of throws that one farther down the line of probability, but it also could explain some things, so it's not completely thrown away. Another investigation later shows that the top of the pine trees are burned.
Okay.
But this was a known testing site, so if that happened that night or not can't be said, but testing did happen in that area at some point.
Okay.
And then in this theory, the missing eyes were claimed to be wild animals after the fact. And some people believe the government tried to cover this up, like mess with the autopsy reports to show that there wasn't damage in the ears.
Oh.
Or there's no proof that a test happened this night or didn't happen this night. It hasn't been released or anything. So this is what starts a lot of the government covering up ideas.
Right, because they don't want to be held responsible.
Yeah. Also, based on livor mortis, which happens after rigor mortis,
Right.
is the pooling of blood.
Okay.
It seems like some of the bodies had been moved. It seems like some of them, like someone else was there. Now, some of them could have been moved by members who died later on, but some of them were just weird, and like these are some of the last people to die. It seemed like somebody else was there, which a lot of them say. that something else was, like, some other group was involved. And it gets fun. It gets fun what other groups may be involved.
Oh, Emily.
This one also has a lot of people. This is where people who believe it's aliens come in. They believe it was aliens and not military testing.
Oh.
But alien spaceships doing stuff with orbs, because a lot of times orbs in the sky are seen, you go straight to aliens. There was radiation found on some of the bodies, though.
Oh,
Why? Why? That's not said in the case, the whole avalanche part of it. Why is there radiation on them?
Radiation,
Yeah, I didn't wanna
eyeballs, tongues.
Yeah.
They're naked.
And this is, I talk again, it's called frame number 33, is the one where they believe that you can see the orbs in the camera footage. There was also a rocket launched
We'll
at
put
this.
that in the Discord.
All the pictures will be in the Discord.
Okay.
There was a rocket launched by the Russian government at this time that could have scared the hikers or nearby expeditions into like seeing a UFO.
Okay.
So maybe not planes dropping bombs, but there was other military testing that could have gone over this area that scared them. That was just like more alien stuff it could have been. Those were really similar because it was like the orbs were either military or aliens kind of thing. This is also kind of military related. This one is a very conspiracy theory.
Hit me with it.
So the belief is that some, not all, of the trekkers were undercover KGB agents on a mission to uncover a cell of CIA agents living in the mountains at the time.
What?
The plan was that they were undercover and they were delivering radioactive samples to the CIA, and they were then going to take pictures of them without being discovered. And then the belief is something went wrong and the CIA agents killed the group.
What?
Isn't that a lot?
What?
But
What?
some of the people, the reason why a lot of people believe there was something weird going on is one of the hikers, the older guy, he was a veteran and he had an untranslatable tattoo on him.
Oh.
Very, like, secret agent, kind of. Like, I don't know, I read that and I was like, okay, well, I believe it now. But it's, like, some kind of code or something that's tattooed on him that can't be translated into any known language. They've tried. Like, it has not been translated. Another one had worked on an unnamed atomic institute known as P.O. Box 3394. It had no name. It just operated under a P.O. box. Very secret kind of thing.
I'm about to lose my mind.
Don't worry, there's another one. There is a third guy. He also worked at an atomic institute known as P.O. Box 404/10. This one...
That's a fraction.
Yeah, I don't...
What?
It's because it's supposed to be secret and nobody likes fractions, so... This one had a very bad nuclear accident that is, like, comparable to Chernobyl, like a bad nuclear accident.
What?
So that one to have worked there, and also another one to work at a different P.O. box atomic site
is weird.
And then to have a veteran who's worked in some like secret ops with an untranslatable tattoo to all accidentally wind up in the same group just seemed really weird.
I guess.
Yeah. And then another weird piece of evidence found out is they all have scuff marks of fighting. Like, some of them have bruised knuckles. This is the whole group.
But they weren't running.
They weren't running from anything. And the marks can be proven to be days before they died. Like, they weren't caused by what
killed them.
Yeah, they were healing and had been healing. So they could have been ambushed. Like, but that's why a lot of people believe that they weren't alone.
Uh-huh.
It goes into some of later, like, there is a theory that's pretty, like, very dismissed in the whole community of it all, but some people believe, like, a local tribe that lived in the area could have been, like, frightened by them and had attacked them, but they were very peaceful, and there was no signs of them. They did find markings of the tribe, but they weren't in the area, and, like, a very trustworthy kind of tribe that had contact with people. And just some other things that a lot of people kind of dismiss that one. But a lot of theories do think that somebody else was there with them, which creeps me out.
I hate that. I hate that concept.
Some other weird ones get kind of sciencey.
Ooh, you're a STEM major?
There's infrasound, so just like infrared light, you can't see it kind of thing. It's sound waves that are so low frequency, no, you can't hear it.
Okay.
So this theory comes from a book by Donnie Ichar. I don't know how to say his name, but it's from 2013, and the book is called Dead Mountain, if you're interested. And that's the mountain they're on, translated roughly to Dead Mountain.
Dead Mountain.
So there's this kind of, it's a fluid dynamics property called a Kármán vortex street. Very, like, it's in-depth kind of weird stuff, but pretty much what happened is wind, water, gas going at certain speeds, in this case wind going at certain speeds around the slope, since it's a tall thing that gets in the way of the wind moving at these certain speeds, create this weird phenomena of wind causing repeating swirls. So it'll swirl one way and cause other wind to swirl out.
Okay.
And then it keeps repeating that.
Okay.
So it's like swirls going out.
Okay.
Because it's going at a certain speed and creating such specific swirls, it can create these low frequency sounds that induce panic attacks in humans. Like it's similar to the concept that cats purr at a frequency that is calming to humans. This sound is the anti version of that. That like could have made them just go into crazy panic attacks.
The reverse of a cat purr.
Yeah, and a lot of people said that could explain why they left the tent panicked over nothing.
But they didn't run away.
Yeah, but once they started walking and got lower, the wind is only moving up there. So once they were able to get lower and calm down, like they come back too, and that's why a lot of them are, some people say that's why they started going back up to the tent. But to flee fast and then start calming down and walk was just like, and that's a really weird property to bring into it. It was a cool theory to get into.
Right.
It's just really, that one's complicated. And just another thing for the undressing, this is a small thing. There's some people who experience extreme hypothermia. It's paradoxical undressing. You get so cold you feel like you're burning. So they were overheating. They felt like they were overheating, so they would take their clothes off.
Oh shit.
But the clothes was in the tent. So like a lot of it is felt like the clothes was fast. They got up fast. But some people say it could be part of it. Like if something went wrong in the tent, their heating went out and they were freezing in their sleep, kind of thing. Another weird property kind of thing is katabatic winds. It's like drainage winds from high elevation with high pressure to a lower area. Like wind is being pressured by air above it, and so it kind of moves downhill. It's like the wind version of a riptide. Okay. It's just when air is trying to get out of high pressure areas. Okay. And it's usually moving down slope. So if they started, it's a rare phenomena, but it can happen on mountains. But it would have been hard to stay in the tent because it would be like moving snow very fast. Okay. So not an avalanche, but like shoveling snow downhill kind of thing. So if they left to get out of the tent, a fear of it blowing away, to get to somewhere with more cover with the trees. Yeah. It's a rare, very strong wind kind of thing. Okay. And that was from a study in 2019 that I had found. Okay. This one's back to the weird ones.
I was worried that they were all over.
No, there's some more weird ones. This one's pretty cool. The Russian Yeti. Just gonna drop that one in halfway down the list. One of the cameras from they had cameras with them, had a picture, and it was an unidentifiable bipedal creature in some trees. And some people are like, this is the Yeti. And believed the Yeti had scared their group and had hurt the group that didn't die of hypothermia. This is they also refer to it by frame. It's frame number 17 on the camera. Okay. There were also cameras that were cracked. There was ripped fabric in the tent and a ripped camera strap. So it seemed like a beast, like, or a creature had gotten in. Like, why was it ripped? It wasn't cut with the
Why the Yeti and not like a bear?
I get it. Was the Yeti at this time was being very sensationalized in Russian culture.
Oh.
Because the Yeti comes from the Himalayan mountains in Asia. It at this point had moved its way up there and was becoming very sensationalized. So it's from the times. And then it's brought up again that Discovery Channel did a documentary on it, but that documentary is very frowned on because it's got a lot of like, this isn't really evidence from the kid. Like, it's a sketchy documentary. But at the time, it was also a sensationalized topic, just in the era of when it happened. The picture is usually debunked because it's a blurred figure, so it could just be a human.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the Yeti. But a lot of people saw that and they were like, yep, Yeti.
Gotcha. Bigfoot's cousin.
And then the beast, like, findings, like, with the tears and the rips could have been a wolverine.
Okay.
They're little, like, they're not wool, but the creature, the animal.
Not the superhero.
Yeah, not the superhero. Wolverine did not show up and just murk
How
these hikers.
Unfortunate. That would have been the plot twist of the motherfucking century.
Next one, it really is Wolverine. They
Surprise.
proved it. No, but they were cooking, or there was cooked food in the tent when the event happened. So if the animal had gone in after and was trying to eat food, could have just ripped stuff up eating the food, and that could have happened after they left.
Yeah.
If they did before, if the Wolverine had been what scared them, like it got its way into the tent some kind of way, or was outside of the tent scaring them because of the food, because Wolverines are very notorious, even though they're kind of like, they're not the biggest things ever, they'll fight bears over food.
Oh, Jesus.
They're very headstrong animals, so it could have just like fought its way into the tent, and that's why they were cutting it their way out.
Right.
Kind of thing. And they also spray smell like skunks do. So if it had gotten in and gotten scared and sprayed smell, it's a very strong, like, nauseating smell. So campers, the people in the camp could have taken off clothes because of that.
Right.
That, like, it explains some of why they left barefoot, just like threw it off. This one was really weird. Some people believed that a snowmobile ran them over.
What?
The ones that survived the initial, like, hypothermia dying, the ones that had the weird bone fractures and stuff, because the chest injuries and internal damage are very similar to if you're run over by a car, if you're run over by a snowmobile, if you're run over by a heavy vehicle, you have those lines going down your ribs.
Right.
Like, if you look up bone fractures because of being run over, those ribs are like a staple of it.
Okay.
And it's so for it to be like just pressure of snow, wasn't very. It didn't make sense, but for this, they were like, "Hey, it looks like that." So there's a whole theory spin off on that.
Wouldn't that also explain why they died at different times too? Because like you're all injured by supposedly this snowmobile, but like you're not gonna succumb to your injuries at the same time.
Way. Yeah, and there was also at this time, it's 1959 in Russia.
Okay.
And they're a little bit behind the times. Snowmobiles weren't very common, and they were owned by people in the government.
Oh.
Like they were government tools. So it could be another reason for cover-up.
Gotcha.
Government just not wanting to be like, hey, we found some hikers and we accidentally run them over.
My bad, guys.
And another thing with that is, like, where they died in the ravine did have, like, this wooden floor made in it.
What?
And I didn't find that out till later, because, like, reading the case thing, it just sounds they're found 75 meters away in a ravine. But then later I found out that there was, like, sticks cut to make a floor for them to be on, so they didn't have to be on the snow.
Oh.
Like, they were trying to get away from their experience. Like, it wasn't like they just sat down and died. They knew how to get a campfire going down there. And just some weird stuff. But it seemed like a floor you'd make to have a tent be able to be on.
Okay.
But the tent is still up on the hill. So they were like, oh, they just never got to that step in the plan. But the weird thing is the floor they built is built to different sizings than the tent that was up there, but the sizings they built to were the same sizing as like the issued military kind of tent. Some people think that the military found them and knew that they were alive, and an incident happened that they died, so the military covered it up.
Okay.
And, like, some of the military could have died, and they just got those bodies out of there, but they didn't want to look like the military was involved.
Right.
Kind of deal. And, like, adding on to that, there were military shoes that didn't belong to anyone found. I don't think it was shoes. I think it was something that went on shoes.
Okay.
Like a part of a shoe kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was military issue. Didn't belong to any of the hikers found at the camp.
Weird.
Like, there were, and another thing, they could have been found by the military and something went wrong, and there was a fight, because they did have those unexplained marks of fighting, bruised knuckles and stuff like that. Not injuries you'd get from just rough climbing.
Right.
Either. Just weird stuff.
Jesus.
So some other random weird miscellaneous stuff is, like I said, there's the distances. A lot of the pictures show like they were there, and then some of the reports they're like they were this far, but in the pictures they were like there's no way you can see the camp from here, kind of thing. There was another expedition being arranged to investigate the last 4 bodies, but the deputy prosecutor from Moscow came in and shut the case down, which furthers the whole government conspiracy. And another one of those, the head of the prosecutor's office spent 3 days in the morgue when the bodies were recovered. Usually you don't have the head prosecutor even, like, like, the people at the morgue said it's the only time it happened in their entire time working in the morgue where they had the head prosecutor come down and spend 3 days there. So it's, like, highly unlikely.
Not a good sign.
Yeah. Some paperwork related to when they opened the case was forged. And they actually have paperwork that they think was written on the 6th of February when supposedly the bodies weren't found by the 26th. What? Or by the 20th, sorry.
But yeah, I know what you meant.
Yeah.
What?
So the way it's a proven forged piece of paper about the crime. It's just they're not sure what was forged on it.
Yeah.
But some people believe the date of the start time because the 2 and the 6 look like it's written in different handwritings.
Okay.
So it could have been a 6 before, and somebody added the 2 in to make it a 26 for when they opened the case kind of thing.
Whoa.
Yeah. Just some fun facts, too. There's a group tomb on the pass now when you go there if you do an expedition through the area. Once you reach the area, there is a group tomb dedicated to the 9 hikers. The area was closed for 3 years after this event. You couldn't go anywhere near it. And I just really liked this one, that some of the newer physics engines, because people do test on this still, like run new engines on it. Every time there's like a new avalanche snow engine, people come back to Dyatlov's Pass and like run it with the new stuff. Some of the ones that came out last year, the engines were created by people working on Frozen, the movie.
Wait.
To make the snow animation for Disney.
That's crazy.
So when they made those engines, they were like, hey, we need that. We're going to tie it into ours. And then they ran it for Dyatlov's and found some stuff out.
Dude.
A lot of what it points to still points to a different kind of avalanche that they didn't really understand at the time.
Okay.
So there is still like a very reasonable explanation for it in the avalanche, but there is some stuff that's kind of like, that's weird, and are we sure? Like a lot of the government stuff is like, are we sure? Or like, are we just making physics engines agree with what we want them to say?
Right.
Kind of thing.
I'm gonna be honest. Every conspiracy you went through just proved to me that it was the government.
Yeah, no, it's a lot. There's so much more. Like, just sit down and look it up and just look up theories after it. There's some just really weird ones. I just tried to pick a lot of the really good ones to share here.
What do you believe?
I couldn't tell you.
Do you have like an inkling? Like, which one sounds the most probable?
So much of it sounds weird and like military cover-up.
Right.
And I'm a sucker for conspiracy theories.
Right.
So I want in my heart to just have it come out that it is some weird thing. But I'd also believe like the winds and stuff could have caused like not an avalanche, but issues with the snow kind of thing. And the physics engines they've ran about like slab avalanches is what I think it's called, leaves very light snow coverage.
Okay.
It's just like, I can't really, like, I don't know. It was very confusing
Uh-huh.
because when you picture avalanche, you picture giant waves of snow going down the mountain. But it was just another way of shifting snow kind of
Right.
thing that leaves similar. It agrees with the way they found the bodies kind of
Okay.
thing. But it is also weird with all the other four that they had a floor that
The boots.
the boots, the floor, people said they cut with their knives that they had on them. But there were some of the branches were pretty like thick. It'd be hard to cut a branch like that with just the knife.
Yeah.
So some people believe that the military had helped them build the floor. There's just some stuff
Whoa.
that like they could have done, but it's like they had knives, so yes, they could have done it, but
Right.
like for it to happen and for them to live long enough for them to get it done, kind of thing, it's weird.
And forged documents.
The forged
head
documents,
prosecutor in the morgue.
yeah, people coming and shutting down relooks into the case.
And like I know I latched onto like the tongue and the eyeballs thing, but it would make a lot of sense if you're trying to make it look like it was something else. Like you're gonna do something drastic.
To keep people in the other way.
Right.
Some people say, going back to like the orange tan, is because they were so high pressure under the snow in the lower area that they were experiencing mummification in the cold.
Whoa.
So they were tanning because instead of decomposing slowly, they were actually just mummifying.
That's crazy.
Which could also explain some like the burn discoloration in their hair. It wasn't burning, it was mummifying.
That's insane.
But I don't know much about mummification, and that they kind of just breezed over that in what I read. Isn't it a lot, though? I had heard the story before, too.
I have too.
And, like, that first part, the 9 hikers going missing, I've heard that before and probably could have given you a general overview of what happened. But then I remembered there being weird conspiracy theories around it, but I couldn't tell any of them. Like, I didn't remember any of them. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that for 3, and I'm just going to deep dive into some of the cool ones.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, yeah, this is fun. I'm definitely doing this because it just got worse and worse as I went down the rabbit hole.
I hate that. It's like the John Benet Ramsey case where it's
like conspiracies. Everybody has their own
theories.
idea of what happened, how it happened, why it happened.
And we all agree it was the government.
Yeah, we all deep down inside know that the government conspiracy about it being the KGB versus the CIA.
That I can't.
I got whiplash reading it.
I felt my soul leave my body.
It was, oh my gosh. I highly recommend to anyone, go just look it up and make a night of it because you'll find some crazy stuff.
If you find ones that you like that didn't talk about, you should send them to us.
Definitely. Or if I got some of them confused because there's a lot of, within the conspiracies, there's a lot of people who disagree.
Okay.
So say for the military one, some people believe it's different kind of testings or different things.
Right.
Or there's a lot of people have different views on how it could have been aliens.
Right.
Different views on how other snow properties could have played into it. There's a lot of differences within conspiracies. So even if we did talk about it, but there's a really different version.
I need someone to tell me the correct answer.
Yeah, somebody, if you're a time traveler, just go figure it out.
We went in 2 different directions.
No.
I was like, if you're part of the Russian government and you know.
I really think it's going to be
Write
one
to
of
me under
those
a
things.
code.
Since it was so popularized and still is in media, I bet I could sit down and be like, Mom, do you know about this? And I'm sure if I gave a name, she'd say no. And I'm sure if I described the situation, she would say yes. It's just something that I feel like is so just overdone in media that there's no way we'll ever get an answer.
Right.
The government could come out and say, here's all of this proving that we covered it up. And people be like, no, now you're just covering up the aliens, guys.
But the P.O. box stuff, that was weird.
Yeah. And that 3 of them had just so happened to be put on the same 10-person hiking team out of an entire institution.
Yeah, that's not a coincidence.
The likelihood of that being a coincidence is scary. Even if it was just the 2 P.O. box guys who worked at 2 different P.O. boxes that are just atomic institutions.
Right.
which is so weird to me.
No, I hate that.
That they go by just the name of the P.O. box
I
is
also
how they
hate
refer
that one
to
of
it.
them is a fraction.
Yeah. It's secret. I don't know. It's just a lot of it, like the further you read and the more that they said, and then they collected this piece of evidence. And then it's like, well, wait. That disagrees with the evidence you told me they collected 10 minutes ago up the page.
Right.
Like even in articles, you'll read one article and there's questions.
Each other, yeah.
Yeah, and there was so much. The pictures, there are some pictures. The documents are unclassified. You can find them. Not all of them. I will say that, but there are unclassified documents from this case that you can get to from Russia, translated. I know not everyone out there speaks
speak
Russian.
For yourself.
I did do some Russian on Duolingo a while back, and I still can't say the names.
It's like you did some Russian on Duolingo. I didn't know that Longhorn Steakhouse was a cow.
We're learning a lot.
Picture books. I can't read. You can speak a little Russian.
I cannot. We just went over that. I can't even read the names. And they're in English. Like, I just can't even say them.
This episode,
I think
is absolutely batshit.
This one, we did pretty good with the topics. They had some turns in them.
Some twists.
This is the plot twist episode, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, strap in.
I hope y'all got whiplash.
I sure as hell did.
Yeah, no, it was.
Oh my goodness.
But no, I enjoyed both of the stories.
I did too.
A lot today. It was like, it leaves you thinking about a lot. Both of them, like
deeply introspective.
Yeah.
And we're gonna post. I know we say it after all of our episodes, but we're gonna post all the stuff on Discord.
Easy to find.
So you can see the frames. You can see the Yeti.
Yeah, we'll post some of our like where we got our research, so we're not just making it up out of nowhere. I know it sounds like it. I went through a lot of things.
We're just pulling it out of our ass. It's the aliens.
The aliens gave me away.
But we're gonna post all that. I'm gonna post some of the videos from the Mr. Anime channel.
They all will also have warnings. We're not gonna post graphic content without anybody out saying.
We will trigger.
They will all be linked, so it's not like you open the channel and all of a sudden you see pictures. It's all gonna be behind links. Right. So don't be afraid of the channel.
And if you want to join our Discord, the link is gonna be in our Instagram bio in a link tree. Please join. There's different channels for everything too. Like even if you're not here for the crime scene photos or anything, we have channels to swap stories with other people. We have channels to talk about like horror games and gaming content and
horror
things
movie
like that.
Channels.
Movies, like it's literally like a hub for morbid curiosity and finding people who are interested in the same things. Please join us.
Yeah. I'm so excited because we did 3 episodes in one weekend, and this is the 3rd one.
Yeah.
So it is our last one for this weekend. I'm so excited to put them out.
I'm so excited to edit them.
Oh yeah, we do have to edit them first.
We're also gonna be posting like clips and stuff on TikTok, and like we're gonna try and reach as many of y'all as possible. I'm very excited. If you like this, also leave us a good iTunes review because that helps us so much.
Yeah, if you have like anything you want to see, any tips you'd give,
yes,
we definitely want to hear it. We're doing this
hit us up on Instagram.
We're here to have some fun and make it fun to listen to. So
something like that.
Yeah,
we
in the gist.
We talked about aliens and a YouTube channel gone wrong.
Yeah, I don't know if it's fun, just maybe like thought provoking at least.
Interesting at the very least.
Yeah.
And yeah. yeah. But I'm happy. This is good.
Yep.
I'm also traumatized.
Traumatized is a good word to use it. I hope we can do a lot more of this. So I'm having a blast. So hopefully,
I am.
Hopefully these 3 episodes hit well.
The lights in the studios keep turning off and on throughout the time, though. So I'm kind of like shaking in my boots.
Oh, no.
But yeah, we're having a good time, and our content's only gonna get better with time. So
yeah, stick around.
Please.
If you like the stories,
or if you hate them. email me. Tell me why you hate
Tell
them.
me personally why you hate
I
Dyatlov's pass.
will respond.
I will. I'll talk about it. We will have a civil conversation.
Into the Twitter DMs.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, bye. I don't know. Thank you
never know how
for
to
listening.
Yeah, thank you for listening. Come back again next week. We can say with this one, listen again next week. We will have new episode 4 out.
Yes.
In between then, we will be posting we did some pictures today, like we said. So there's a lot of fun pictures involved with the podcast going up on Instagram. There'll be clips of the last episodes if you missed one of the first 3.
Or if you just want to hear me talk about how I didn't know Longhorn Steakhouse was.
If you wanted to relive that glorious moment, it'll be on there. There's also some stuff that's not in the podcast because we record. There's stuff we cut out of the podcast just
Little
for
bits.
time's sake, but some of it is still funny, so it'll probably get thrown on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
We also turn the mics on early, so like we talk before we actually start recording,
Right.
and there's some goofy stuff in there about the podcast that we can throw in. So like it's some behind the scenes stuff that's not on here as well.
It's
so
going to be fun.
yeah.
Okay. Adam, do you want to say anything to the people? Oh, he's fucking dead.
No, there he is. He's got a ponytail now. He didn't have a ponytail. Right?
He drew a picture. He drew a picture and he put it up against the window.
It's episode 3, a rainbow. It's a nightmare. Thank you, Adam, for the picture.
I'll post it on Instagram so that y'all can see what he put in, because there's a window in between his little sound room and us in the studio. Oh my goodness, Adam, that's beautiful. It's truly.
Thank you, Adam, and thank you all for listening. This is it for episode 3.
Come back next week for another nightmare.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.